Good afternoon, students. Jai Hind. We are going to begin or begin the new chapter. Understand? That is the Bhakti and Sufi traditions, right from 8th century to the 18th century. Understand? So under this topic, we have to be the study. We know that after the advent of the Islam was a frequently when the Islam entered in our country, the influx of the Islam because of that. Understand the more and more, and we know that there was a problem of in the country that religious problem was that now the Vedic tradition was much associated with the elite class. Elite class. It was the Vedic tradition was associated with the elites, or or this Vedic tradition, the elite or the very difficult Sanskrit. So it was this religion never be the religion of the common masses. Understand? So the masses, common masses, were now at being attracted, and they were the now very indifferent in their beliefs, because they in the according to the Brahmanical traditions, according to the Dharma Sutra and the Shastra, the large scale of the population in our country, or our vast segments of the our country, they were uh, they they were not interested in the Vedic study and the Vedic. Okay, even the common man, it was the not accessible for them to study the Sanskrit script. It was written very hard, so that they were distracting from the and the because from the outside the Islam was now influxing or coming our entering our country. Islam was, so as a result, with the fear of this created a great fear in the minds of our religious thinkers. Understand? Now it might be the large scale people with the converted into Islam. Understand? Islam. So this became the much concern of these thinkers, that how to bring these little tradition with the great tradition, how to bring the elites and common man into the incorporated the common man into the great tradition, or into the, so the common man we are distracting at the local level. They were distracting and the following the different kinds of the way of beliefs. Understand? So under these circumstances, we shall see that in the chapter fourth, you have seen that by the mid first millennium, see, the landscape of the subcontinent was dotted with a variety of religious structures. Now we see that in the chapter 4, you have studied about the stupa or the structures, Hindu structures and the Buddhist structure. Or in those, our India, our subcontinent was no doubt dotted with the different kinds of the stupas, monasteries, temples, or if this typified in certain religious beliefs and practices. Certain they were the typified in the certain religious beliefs and the practices. Other have been the reconstructed from the textual traditions, and these were now I have already mentioned in the fourth chapter that how the historians, art historians, were the very much adamant, and the much they were the much concerned they had to how to find the textual traditions, including the Puranas. They wanted, they now resembled the incidents or the stories from textual stories to be found or to be depicted on the walls are depicted in the stones. They wanted to the resemblance, many of which received their present shape around the same time, or many of the this found around the same new textual sources available from the period. Now you must have to be careful that new text, new religious composition in the songs, local songs sung by the saints follower, not only the big the saints, their saints followers, they have now started the compiling the bhajana verses, or compiling the stories, or the rituals, including the composition attributed to the poet saints. And this composition began to be done in the attributed poet saints. Poet saints used to go and move door to door for the propagating their thoughts and their beliefs from common men. And common men were very close to these poet saints, most of whom expressed themselves orally in the regional language. Now, though we think that uh, in the rise of Buddhism, there was one reason behind that. The common man, they now used the Pali and Prakrit for the propagation of the Buddhism. Pali and Prakrit language. Why the Pali and Prakrit language was now expressed? Because Pali and Prakrit language was worth, it was easily to understand by the common masses. Common masses. That's why the Gautam Buddha became dominant in the spreading of the Buddhism in those times. He became very dominant. Why? Because the language was very common. He used it so that even the common man could understood. And it was the very difficult for the common man to understand the difficult Sanskrit Vedic language. Vedic Sanskrit. It was very difficult. That's why the common man inclined towards the Buddhism. Okay. Here also we see that now these bhakti saints and their poet saints who roam door to door, they use the common language. They use in a spread of their ideas used by the ordinary people. Orally, ordinary people could understand. These compositions which were often set to the music, this composition and the bhakti verses have been set with the music by the playing on music. Understand? Playing on music, they could now they could used to sing. Understand? Or open the music were compiled by the disciples of devotees, and these were compiled by the disciples of these devotees. Their disciples compiled the bhajan in the form of bhajan and the verses on the music. On the music this was the sung. Generally, after the death of the poet saint, their compositions, their writings and the bhajans were compiled by their disciples. And moreover, and traditions were fluid. What is the more? These traditions were fluid, very fluid. Generation of the devotees tended to elaborate on the original message, or these were the very fluid, and the generation of these poet saints, they tried to elaborate these messages more. Okay, later on by the passage of the time, this was the original message was elaborated time to time. Whatever they had delivered and sermoned, the original message, it was now elaborated, and some occasionally modified. Sometimes it was those compilation and their songs were modified also. And Even the sometimes abandon some of the ideas that appeared problematic. If the some ideas were appear to be the problematic, the irrelevant of the different political or the supposed to be the irrelevant under a political, social, and cultural context. So those were the abandoned. Understand? Any problem, troublesome, yeah, the problematic, this version and the something. Understand? It was the now deleted. We can say eating the sources of the pose the challenge to the historians. Okay. Moreover, historians also draw the hagiographies, means the saints or religious biographies is called the hagiography. Hagiography or biographies of the saints written by their followers. The hagiography and the biographies were the written by their followers and and members of the religious sects. These may not be the literary accurate. Now these writings were may not be the literary accurate, but allow the glimpses into the ways in which devotees perceived. So they now reflect the glimpses in which devotees perceive the lives of these path-breaking women and men. Whatever these compilers or these bhaktas or the followers or the devotees, they realized and they felt and perceived the lives of the path-breaking women and the men. They now compile this. Okay. Now, as well, we see the sources provide us with insights. The scenario characterized by the dynamism and the diversity. This scenario compromised by the divergence and the dynamism and the diversity. Let's see. First here, the mosaic of religious beliefs and practices. Here the mosaic means mosaic. Okay. Uh, this is the mosaic of the religious beliefs and the practices. Here we are going to under this word how these religious different religions were the interconnected or interrelated or these were the interrelated and how they were the uh, interconnected or like the mosaic cemented together which could not be the separated very easily. Understand? So this was the perhaps a most striking features of the phase. First phase in the increasing visibility of wide range of the gods. The most striking that is here we can see the gods and goddesses on a large scale began to be the visible in the sculptures. In the sculptures, many now lot of a lot of sculptures, okay, sculpted, and in that sculpture of the god and goddesses, and moreover, or as well as in the text also, these god and goddesses, which and whose structure and sculpture had been depicted on the walls, they are also in the text. They are found in the textual descriptions also, or at one level. This indicates the continued, even extended worship of the major deity, or these different kind of the god and goddesses depicted or a sculpture at the local level. They also now signifies or reflects that reveals and the now reflects that the worship of the major deities at, at the local level or in the different forms. Local level worship of the big deities like the Vishnu and the Shiva and the goddess whom was visualized in the variety of forms. So these god Vishnu, Shiva, Parvati and the Parvati and the Lakshmi, other these god and goddesses at the local level began to be depicted in the different forms. Their form changed, but in the great edition, in the big form or the a very universal form, they had the big figures. But at the local level, their figures were completely changed. Their form was completely, but they had been named as a Vishnu, as a Shiva, but their form was not the like the great traditions Vishnu or the Shiva. The integration of the cult we shall see. Historians who have tried understand these developments suggest there were the two process at the work. Only there were two process of the work at work. First, one was a process of disseminating Brahminical ideas. A process of the disseminating Brahminical ideas. It means that Brahminical ideas were the expanding. It was in process of the expanding or spreading. Spreading first. This is the exemplified now uh, in exemplified by the composition. This is the exemplified by the uh, composition in a clear and a detailed manner. These were the Brahminical knowledge and the teachings were the exemplified in the composition, compilation, and preservation of Puranic text, or in preservation of the Puranic text in a simple verses, in simple Sanskrit. Now this Vedic Sanskrit was left, and it was in the simple Sanskrit. These were and the moreover meant to be the access to the women. Why these text has been written in the simple Sanskrit? There was a motives behind this. There was a objective behind this. Understand? The main what the objectives was. The first objective was here now preservation or objective of Sanskrit verses explicitly mean to the accessible. It was a clear and obvious. Meant these were written meant to be the women and the Sudras who had been deprived for a long for years and decades or for centuries. For them, the Sanskrit in the Sanskrit version, this has been written, and who were generally excluded from Vedic learning. You know very well, from the Vedic learning, women and the Sudra had been deprived by the Dharma Shastra, learning of the Dharma Shastra. So new compositions were written in the very simple Sanskrit. Why? Even the downtrodden and the lowers could understand this. Understand? And moreover, Vedic learning at the same time, there was a second process at work. First process, whatever the compiled and composed, written very simply, written in a simple Sanskrit language. So that why? Reason? This was a process, important process. Reason was that even the Sudra and the women who had been deprived and isolated from the Vedic learning, now they could be included in this, incorporated under this under the column of the Brahminical knowledge and Brahminical beliefs. Okay, first thing. Second was the process that of the Brahmanas accepting or the reworking the belief and practices. Brahmins were working or the reworking or accepting these other social categories, practice these and the other social categories, whatever the practicing, the Brahmins were the accepting or the reworking upon that, on that. Moreover, in the fact, many beliefs and the practices were set, many of the beliefs and practices were the set or the shaped practices were the shaped through the continuous dialogue. Many practices said continuous dialogue two, between the two. The sociologists have described the great tradition, great Sanskritic Puranic tradition, great Sanskritic Puranic tradition, and the little tradition throughout the land. Little tradition are one of the most striking examples of the process is evident in the Puri, at the Puri, Odisha, where the principal deities was identified by 12th century Jagannatha, or who was the Jagannath? But where it was a different form at the Puri, Jagannath was shown in a different form, but actually he was the Vishnu. He was the term and the form of the Vishnu, but its form was completely changed in the Jagannath. Understand? Jagannath temple. Students, today this is the much so far. From the next day, I shall teach in a very different way. I shall start about the some focus I will give upon the Buddhism, a little focus I will give on the Jainism, or a little focus I will give on the birth or the emergence of Tantricism. Tantricism. Tantricism on the emergence and birth of the Tantricism. Understand? So, under these questions, I shall now teach in the further classes or for the preparation. The two chapters is coming, and that I suppose that I have not much to say about that. What the pattern will and how, what the questions will be asked, you know very well. Understand? Or every line, everything study very carefully. Understand? And even from the sources and from the backs, from the brackets, you can study. Understand? So, students, this is the much for today, and the next day we shall start uh, from a new days and the new terms. First day I will introductory I will teach, and then after our topic wise I will explain every topic gradually. I will explain. You listen well and then read the book. Okay, this is the methods of the learning. Thank you very much.